In today's review, we're going to dissect the Kuro Everyday Workpack. It's a bag that claims to have a lot of innovation, but I'm going to use my experience of reviewing 500 of the world's best bags to let you know if it's BS or if it's worth the price. In this video, we're going to pack out the bag, test out the modular ecosystem, measure its capacity, and if you're not quite feeling this bag, you're going to want to stick around to the end of the video where I'll make some alternative bag suggestions that might better suit your needs. Let's talk about the gist of the Kuro Everyday Workpack. Also, should be noted, this is a sponsored review, but here at Nomad Nation, sponsored reviews do not equal positive reviews. They just allow the brand to pick their publish date because we have hundreds of bags that need to be reviewed. So instead of waiting, we'll jump the line, but you'll see this review is going to be extremely honest, and I will not hold back on the negatives I have with this bag. Speaking of which, Kuro is a new brand started by two brothers, and this is their debut bag, and it's marketed to be an everyday work pack, as the name suggests, but also that it can replace the three most important bags in your life. Let's run through the top features. We've got a really interesting primary fabric, a quick access front pocket, two water bottle pockets, clamshell style opening to the main compartment, the advertised ability to self-stand, and we'll talk about that a bit more a few chapters from now, a really clean and comfortable harness system, but really the star of the show is, in this top zippered pocket right here, we have a tech pouch that connects magnetically, is easy to remove, and can be worn as a sling. So we've got a new sort of modular ecosystem here, which I have some thoughts on, some pros and cons with it, and we'll talk about that in depth in a few minutes. As of recording, the bag only comes in one color option. Now it's advertised to be 26 liters in size. We've got a height of 18 inches and a width of just over 11 inches and a pretty chunky base depth of 9 inches. So let's go ahead and test that 26 liters capacity. A 26 liter bag used to be considered too big for everyday carry, but now with all the tech stuff we're carrying, a lot of people like it for their EDC, and it's an increasingly popular bag size because it can double as a small travel bag. Ah! Balls down. Come back, little guys. All right, so we filled out the main compartment and this top compartment because the front is gonna be very tight now. Laptop compartment, not a lot of space. Let's just get an idea of what we got here. So for the main compartment, we're at 5, 10, 15, just over 20 liters. Let's call it around 21. And for the top pocket that carries the sling, it was filled up when the main compartment was filled up here. And you can see here, we're just under 25 liters. Remember, we didn't use the laptop compartment or the water bottle holders. So I think that, you could say it's around 25, 26, somewhere in that range, which is impressive because it feels like it's a smaller silhouette, but a lot of that extra space you're actually getting from this bottom portion, as it is a significantly deeper bag than most other bags in this size range. Kuro claims this bag weighs 2.8 pounds. We're getting 2.3 pounds on scale number 1 and 2.4 pounds on scale number 2. So I think it's safe to assume the 2.8 pounds includes the X-Pac, which if we add this to the mix, should get us, so we actually got 3.1 pounds with the X-Pac and the X-Pac shoulder strap, which is a bit heavy in itself, and 3 pounds on the dot for scale number 2. So a bit of a fluctuation in the weight, depending on what parts of the modular ecosystem you're actually carrying. This is the Kuro Workpack when it's empty, and this is the bag when it's fully packed out and worn on the Nomad Nation team. For reference, I'm 5'8", and our media manager, Margaret, is 5'2". And don't worry, we're gonna pack out the bag throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. Kuro offers a 40-day return policy, which is quite generous, but the wording for their warranty is a little confusing. So if warranties are important to you, I definitely recommend asking them the specifics in regards to that. For all that, this bag runs around $215 US, and that includes the X-Pac and the shoulder strap. And if at any point in this review, you're thinking to yourself that this is the modular bag trifecta of your dreams, and you're gonna make a purchase, we highly suggest doing so using the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes, especially for the newer brands that we're working with like Kuro. But that link also helps support the Nomad Nation YouTube channel so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk about the front of the Kuro Everyday Workpack. Now, the first thing we notice on the front of any bag is going to be the aesthetic, which I have sort of mixed feelings about. I think it's a little serious in some ways and interesting in other ways, and a little dorky maybe too, but also I really like the fabric. This fabric is fresh and interesting. It's a 600D jacquard or jacquard, no idea how that's pronounced, but it's a polyester. And polyesters are great because they're incredibly water resistant. polyester literally repels water quite naturally. It's not gonna be as abrasion resistant as a nylon might be. But again, I just think the weave is very interesting. It's kind of exotic. It gives the bag a bit of a luxurious feel without compromising any of its durability. But one thing that might be less durable is this PU-coated zipper right here. PU-coated zippers do have a tendency to peel over time because the PU coating is polyurethane, which is plastic. So if this plastic gets subjected to a crap ton of sunlight and or humidity, it might look like this after a while. No guarantees, but something you gotta be aware of. And one other thing about PU-coated zippers that kind of irks some people is that they're sticky, right? So you gotta add a little extra oomph to open and close it. But thank God Kuro added these little pull tabs right here to give you a little bit of leverage to make it easier to do so. Inside this front pocket, we have no additional organization. It doesn't also lead into the top. It's just this bottom section here, which is great for quick access to your smaller bits of gear, maybe your glasses, some gum, Bluetooth headphones. And because of the dots, I don't know why I put out a Boston accent there. Why not? Because of the dots at the bottom of the bag, it gives the bag in this pocket a bit of extra volume, so it's not too tight. And last but not least, Kuro's branding, pretty subtle here at the bottom. Might end up peeling over time. But yeah, overall, that's a pretty simple front, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the fabric. My perspective is skewed because I look at so many bags, so I'm just so stoked when I see something different and interesting. But maybe this is like too interesting and different. What do you think about this polyester? Is it dope? Interesting? Weird? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's talk about the middle of the Kuro Everyday Work Pack. Now we're gonna talk about the water bottle holders and the bottom of the bag and its ability to self-stand in a second. But first, let's kind of discuss the star of the show, which is this modular ecosystem, which again is accessible with this top sort of flippity-flappity compartment and the flex pack right here, which is in essence a tech pouch that can be used as a sling and then stowed in that top pocket. And let's get deep. Let's talk about like bag theory right now. Is this cool? Is this interesting? Does it rock? Does it And actually, I think my opinion is it's interesting. I've seen a lot of bags that try to do like the 2-in-1 thing. Hell, I even try to do it from my backpack brand, Firo. I wanted to have a sling on the exterior of the bag. Because the whole concept is that most people, especially in like urban life, I live in Hong Kong, so I'm usually rocking a sling in my day-to-day. It's my pocket reliever, right? It's got my gum, it's got my AirPods, it's got maybe wallet, backup cash, just small things, right? But then I switch to a backpack when I gotta come to the office for work. So I don't wanna have to like undo this and grab all the little things and place them in my bag. It's just like, dude, I keep all my little stuff in here and then it goes to the top of the bag. And you get that little extra security, a little extra satisfaction with the magnet, wait for it, right there. So it just kind of makes the flex pack fit in a way that feels more flush and satisfying. Like I said, I tried to do this with the Firo bag, we failed miserably. But I've seen like the Slingah System is a new bag that came out on Kickstarter recently, where again, you got the sling and it goes inside the bag. Or you could see it on like Molly attachment points where you can like put things on the outside of the bag, but there's always compromises. So if your sling's in here, it means that it's gonna be really hard to access your stuff, right? So if you have your AirPods in the sling and then you put the sling in the backpack and you close this guy up and you're waltzing through town and you wanna listen to some jams, the new Lil Wayne album came out and unfortunately it's not very good. But you wanna listen to it anyways. You gotta take the bag off, unzip this, put it down. It's a thing. It's a whole song and dance. But it also means that your stuff is more secure from that perspective. Because if you had it just modularly attached to the outside of the bag, like I've seen on like the Skyborn, has got like the DOP kit on the outside. Which one? The newest one. Oh yeah, the new Boundary Supply bag, yeah. You know, you can carry bags externally on a bag, but then, you know, you're really opening it up to theft. Someone can just jack it and run. So there's always a trade-off. No bag system I've seen has been able to perfectly do this sort of 2-in-1 bag integration. But I think this is one of the nicer ones because you are getting semi-faster access without sort of compromising the rest of the use case of the bag. Let's go ahead and pack out the main compartment. We can talk about how the whole thing works a bit more. Love the clamshell style opening. I don't need clamshell style in an everyday carry backpack, but at 26 liters, like I said, this can be a travel bag, which is great because it kind of gives you a bird's eye view of everything. Inside the main compartment, we have 2 zipper pockets on this end and nothing on this end. Super minimalist, minus the compartment where the flex pack hibernates or chills. Now this is taking up a huge amount of the main compartment, but also it can be storage space for other things. Let's just pack it out, you can get an idea what I'm talking about. Now, I'm gonna show you the travel use case for this. I got a week's worth of clothes in this Air Travel packing cube, the large one. And you can see it actually surprisingly fits. And a lot of that, like I said, is based on this depth. The bottom of this bag has got some chunk to it, which will be very beneficial in just a second. I'll show you why. So now you got the sling up here, you got your packing cube here. This is more than enough space too for all your office stuff, whether you're doing tech stuff. You can go ahead and throw your hoodie in here as well. And then in these pockets, you just throw your smaller bits of gear, wires and keys maybe. The top pocket is interesting. We're using a microfiber interior lining, which is kind of saying to me, you can put tech or maybe like more fragile bits of gear in there, like your sunglasses, but I don't love putting my glasses in a pocket like this in the main compartment, especially if the bag's overpacked. But I do like just having the microfiber in general. It just feels nice. It's very comforting in that sense. But for that pocket, I'm just gonna throw my packable totes, some tissues. And these pockets are also very well designed because they got some depth to them. You can see you've got this like cut underneath here, which then gives these pockets more volume, which gives them a lot more versatility. Now, back to the bottom of the bag is this bag is advertised to be a great self-stander. And it is and it isn't. I think you can call a bag a self-stander even if it doesn't self-stand very well when it's empty. This is kind of a talking point. Does a bag have to self-stand perfectly all the time, whether empty or full, to be a self-standing bag? Because this is not a great self-standing bag when it's empty. That's because it's light, it's malleable. But then you can see when you pack it out, you got this huge base right here and it's standing extremely well. But you have to make sure there's stuff on the bottom of the bag to create that base. Let me know your thoughts on like self-standing bags. Is this a perfect self-stander? Should there be a caveat, a little star in the description on the website of this bag? It's like, can self-stand if? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And then bringing it back to the modular ecosystem, we've got this in here, but let's say you want to take it out, or maybe you're traveling, right? You're double bagging, 1.5 bagging we call it. Your sling in the front and your backpack in the back. This is the best way to travel because then you can carry a light bag and keep all your tidbits that you want quicker access to here. This actually be a really cool travel system for those reasons. But now that means that you've actually opened up extra space, right? And this thing's deep. It's got 7 inches of space. So if you're traveling with it, you can throw a book in there. You can throw a big old chunky battery in there. You can throw your mouse in there. And because, actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I like this as a travel bag. It's a great personal item because you can throw it underneath the seat in front of you and then easily unzip right here, grab what you need. You got the sling, you put the sling away. There's just a lot that you can do with it. I think it's a really cool system. And what makes it especially cool is that we didn't have to compromise the sling itself or the tech pouch, whatever you want to use it for. Let's talk about the X-Pac. We've got a front pocket here with no additional organization. And then you got the main compartment here with a gusset style design, but a very wide mouth opening. Inside here, we've got 1, 2 power mesh pockets. These and 2 more on the back. These are elastic, just a bit. And then you got this zippered pocket in the middle. Now I'm gonna give you an idea of how this packs out. Glasses in the middle, along with a pen. This floating divider is either going to be the divider of your dreams or the divider of your nightmares. Dream because it provides you more organization as to where you have this central pocket, but also now 2 areas to store things in. But also could be of your nightmares because it's just taking up so much space. You could have maybe originally put something bulkier in that center sort of area. Not anymore. We'll do a mouse here, put the charger right there. I think this is a little bit smaller of a sling. We're at around maybe the 1 liter range. So you're not gonna fit a ton of gear in here. But it's more like a pocket reliever, which is my kind of a sling. In the front pocket, I think it'd be a good spot for a wallet, but I will say that's one thing about this sling that I don't love, is that there is no back pocket to it. So typically when you're wearing a sling, I like it when it's got like that hidden back wallet pocket, secure against your body, but also easy to access. And this is where you gotta keep in mind with modular sort of ecosystems, products that are trying to do so many things simultaneously, is that there's always compromises that are made. So for instance, this is trying to be a tech pouch and a sling. And as a tech pouch, it's doing a lot of awesome things, but as a sling, there's just things that aren't quite checking all the boxes. One last note about the tech pouch / sling is the strap that we're utilizing. I like it because it's a little bit thicker. We've got a magnetic hardware attachment point, which is always satisfying to use. And the hardware is not a name brand, I don't think, which I don't love at this price point. But sometimes it's hidden underneath the nylon, so it's not always easy to see. But the nylon itself feels very silky smooth. And we've got hardware that's metallic, which feels premium. But on the con side, the metallic hardware is very heavy. Remember when we weighed this thing before and after the sling or the flex pouch was actually in the bag? The weight was significantly added with the sling in the bag, and that's because this thing added a ton of weight. Also for the magnetic hardware, this could cause a problem with theft for some. I'll say it's not something that I worry about, but I read every comment ever made on my videos. And a lot of people do express concern. Something like this is easy to steal. And now that we fully pack this thing out, let's see if it still fits in here nicely. Yeah, actually not too bad. So I was concerned that when the flex pack was fully packed out, that this pocket would have been too small to actually fit it back in. But actually, as you can see, it works really well. But the more the bag's packed out and the more that you got like things attached, the less the magnets kind of do their job. They're okay. They still can find their way to connect-ish sometimes, but keep that in mind, like these modular magnetic touch points, as the bag warps, so does the positions that the magnets connect in, so it's not gonna be as satisfying. But at the end of the day, that's why I like this design, because you don't need the magnets to connect for this to work. Like I've seen some roll tops where like there's a magnetic closure system at the top, but then when the roll top is like too overpacked, now the magnets are no longer aligned. So there's nothing here that can get f***ed up if the bag is overpacked. Woo! That was a long rant. And if you're like, dude, that was a long rant, and I want longer rants, backpack theory is awesome. I didn't know I was a backpack nerd, but I totally am. Let's go. Well, if that's the case, I want to let you know that here at Nomads Nation, we don't just do bag reviews on our YouTube channel, but we also have the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, you can look at me as your reporter in the field, where I'm like your journalist on the front lines, telling you the biggest developments in the world of everyday carry and travel gear, because there's so much killer gear coming out, it's mind-blowing. So if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in this community, be sure to sign up to the Nomads Nation newsletter, which you can do by finding this globe emoji in the description below. Hope to see you in your inbox. Last note with the middle of the bag, let's talk about the water bottle holders. They've been sitting here forever, waiting for their time to shine. 24-ounce Columbia. You can see the water bottles fit pretty well, but also we're getting a little bit of poppage happening. That's because the fabric kind of has to turn around this corner a little bit. So you can see it's just not staying super well in the pocket. Overall though, it's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's not gonna slip out every time. Just, you know, here in the carry community, we've got really high expectations for our water bottle holders. These get the job done. Let's try the 1 liter Yeti. Also gets the job done, but just with the bag being fully packed out, you're getting some slip and slide around. And maybe it would have been nice if Kuro added like a little D-ring or attachment point right here, just so you can secure the water bottle to the bag. For me though, not something I would ever use. I just know people in the community quite like it. But the depth of these pockets are huge, so you can store things like your phone in there as well. Sunglasses on the side. I really like this fabric. I think it's so cool. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the back of the Kuro Everyday Workpack backpack. Starting with the tech compartment, we have a half moon opening. Again, love the light gray lining. Gives it a highlight effect, makes it easier to find what you put where inside your bag. You can see we have a 16-inch MacBook Pro cutout, and we're fitting very nicely in this compartment. You're probably not gonna get a 17-incher in there. Maybe actually. Only one way to find out. I got an Asus Vivo book. Oh wow, we are absolutely fitting, are we? Only one way to know for sure. Yeah, I mean, we're getting a little bit of pressure on the corners right here, but our 17-incher fits, so yours might as well. Also, we've got some additional organization. Laptop compartment. We've got a little false bottom, not much, but there's some padding on the bag. Overall, it feels pretty cozy in there. This is a sleeve that if I had an air tag, that's where I'd put it. This is a sleeve that I do have a tablet. 11.5 inches from corner to corner. You can see it fits very nicely. And again, padding. Pretty nice. It's a worthy tech compartment. For the price point, I'm cool with it. It's a little bit loose maybe, but that also provides some extra versatility where you can fit and pack some more stuff. Good call, Margaret. That's our 13.5-inch tablet, and it fits. Thanks, Margaret. 13.5. Final answer. Then these smaller pockets here could be a good spot for, you know, if you want to keep your wallet very hidden and secure back here. Some tech stuff like wired headphones for your phone calls, for your business calls, and that's about it. Top handle gets the job done. Nice space to grab. Really nice material at the price point. It can make the bag go a little off center, but for me, I'm always a fan of top handles in this location on a bag. And let's talk comfort. As to where we have some things that I really like and some things that you gotta be aware of that might be a deal breaker for you in regards to comfort with this bag. Things that I like, shoulder straps, very nice. We've got around 3 inches of width at the base. Now these come on down to around under 2 inches at the bottom, which I think has a very nice sexy look, but isn't always the best for comfort, but isn't always the worst. What is the most important for comfort though is chunk of the shoulder straps, which these are very beefy. A little bit of contour, you can see you've got a cut right here. And what's also important is the back panel where you need a lot of comfort and ventilation. We've also got a hidden back wallet pocket right here with a key leash, which is interesting because I kind of like it, but I'm also kind of perplexed by it. I can't be too perplexed by it because on the Fire backpack that I made, we also gave you the ability to put your keys in that back pocket because it's so easily accessible. It's the most easily accessible pocket on the bag, to be honest, right? Swing this effer around, unzip, and then boom, you grab what you need. In this situation, your keys. But in this situation, this pocket is small and tight. We're at around just under 6 inches, which seems big, but like I like these back pockets to be at least 8 inches because it's just really difficult to grab whatever is in here. Now this can get the job done, but there's also no movement on this. This is just a nylon webbing and a plastic hardware. So if you're trying to undo your bag, you're gonna do this around and then the keys are gonna be attached right here and you gotta really bring it close. So maybe a retractable key leash may have been pretty cool there. Or maybe you just take your keys off. One problem that you might have is that bulky keys, sharp keys back here, you might feel it on your back. But there is enough padding as to where I don't think it's gonna be too terrible. We tested this out earlier as well, and it was pretty fine overall. You will notice some bulk in the back, perhaps a little off center, but it's not gonna be painful by any means. Before we do one final comfort test, let me show you how this bad boy works with a suitcase. Like I said, I think this would be a great travel combo. You got the sling in the front, the bag in the back, suitcase in hand, and you can slide the backpack over the suitcase as so. Love the vertical orientation of this luggage pass-through holder. And by vertical, I mean that it allows you to carry your backpack standing upright vertically. Which really works with this bag because it's definitely a vertical bag. So you can grab whatever's in this pocket. And most importantly, you can grab the flex pack. The stitching's a little tight. We only have one reinforcement area that I can see, but I think it's okay. I'm not too worried about it. And then finally for that comfort test, I've been wearing this around on and off the past couple weeks. And it's a very comfortable bag. I actually really like the shoulder straps. I actually really like the shoulder straps. There's a softness to them. Like it's really soft, almost potentially concerningly, but not really. There's a lack of structure that a lot of other bag companies may have integrated that Kuro is like, nah dude, it just seems to be cushy, soft. And so it feels really nice. The ventilated fabric that we're using on the shoulder straps here is like the same that you find in an airbag. A little bit of scratch to it for a little bit of grip. Ventilation in the back panel, lovely. Overall, a really comfortable wear. Now, before we jump into the pros and the cons, I want to let you know if you got any questions about this bag, you can always ask me in the comments below. I do my best to answer as many comments as I can, but another great spot to ask your questions is in the Nomads Nation subreddit. We recently launched this. It's got one of the coolest and most active and engaged communities of bag lovers and gearheads in the world. So any questions you might have about this bag or any other bags, be sure to ask there. Let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Kuro Everyday Workpack. Pro number one, I think the fabric's cool. I think it's interesting. I think it's different, and it should be very durable and water repellent. Pro number two is going to be, it was actually a pretty comfortable wear. And pro number three is going to be the versatility of the entire ecosystem with how it works with the Flex Pack pocket. But on the flip side, let's talk about some cons. Con number one is while the Flex Pack pocket offers versatility, any modular system is gonna have compromises, all of which we highlighted. Con number two is that back wallet pocket, quite tight. And con number three is while the side pockets were adequate, they were definitely not the best I've ever tested. But there's a good chance that if you're still here, those cons mean nothing to you and you're just totally digging the Kuro look and the modular ecosystem, the way it works for everyday carry and travel, and you might be thinking about making a purchase, which if so, just a reminder, we highly suggest doing so using the first link in the description. That's just where you get the best price. And if we have any discount codes, which we often have for newer brands that we're working with, then that's what that discount code will be. But if you're not quite sold, let's talk about the alternatives I teased at the beginning of the video. First up, if you're new to the channel, you should definitely watch the Nomads Nation leaderboard rankings. That's where the Nomads Nation team of gearheads gets together, talks about our favorite bags in distinct bag categories, so you can know what the best options are on the market. And you can watch that video linked above. But if you want to get more specific with bags that are close to this but offer some different selling points, I got two for you. Alternative number one is going to be the Slingah System. This is a debut bag that just recently launched on Kickstarter. We actually don't have a full review of it, but I just want you to be aware of its existence because it's kind of a similar concept, but it's doing it in a slightly different and more affordable way. We did a YouTube short on it so you can get an idea of how the system works. And the second alternative is gonna be the Boundary Supply Rennen Pro X-Pac. A bit more of a controversial bag, but to be honest, there's not a lot of like these 2-in-1 sling backpack systems. We're kind of scraping right now, but it's a really premium take on a 2-in-1 bag sling. It's an external attachment point, which will have its own set of pros and cons. All three bags are quite interesting in their own way, bringing different things to the table. And to learn more about the alternatives, just go ahead and watch these videos here. If you got any questions about any bags, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron, this is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.